I found this poor little bird, which you think is a female,
Yes.
on the side of the road just sitting there. And I didn't know if it was like waiting for its parents to feed it or if it was injured. So I brought it to you. And what do you think just by looking at her?
Sure, yeah. So one of the first things that I do when I'm looking at a bird is I'm trying to figure out whether or not it has an injury or whether or not it has an illness or potentially both, you know, because we've all had those situations where, you know, you get a speeding ticket and you have a cold on the same day. So animals can be like that too. So it's not a surefire way to be able to tell what the main problem is, but I do try to assess what is going on overall with my patients. And so one of the things I'm doing is I want to look at her age. I can see that this is a juvenile mourning dove because if you look at her feathers, you can see that she's got this scale appearance. So the tips of her feathers are very pale. And that tells me that this is her first set of feathers, which means that she was hatched sometime in the spring or in the early summer, right? So I know that she's a very young bird. The other thing that I can tell right now is as I'm feeling her, first of all, I can tell that she doesn't feel good because she's very lethargic or very sleepy, but I can tell that she's very thin. And the way I can tell that is because I can feel her keel, which I can turn over here, and she's a little bit dirty, but we won't judge her because she's not feeling good. But I can tell that this is a bird that is very emaciated because I can feel the keel right here, okay? And so that tells me that she's not getting enough to eat or that her immune system is consuming more than she's able to consume. So this is a bird that definitely needs my help, and what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up putting her somewhere where it's dark, warm, and quiet in my basement so she can calm down, and then I'll be able to do a more thorough physical exam to try to see if there's any injuries or anything. But I don't want to move her around too much right now because the stress at this point can actually be dangerous.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
And you said something interesting about like knowing that she was probably had an illness because she wasn't fat and...
Yeah, so a lot of the time if I get in a bird who's really fat but is acting like this, the chances are pretty good that the chances are really, really good that there's an injury. Because when you get injured, basically, I mean, it's like when we're sick, if we were sick for a really long time, we would lose weight. So if you have something like an animal who looks really, really healthy but is acting strange, there's a good chance it's either an acute illness like a virus or an injury. And there's not too many illnesses that mourning doves get. There are some, which is why I have to do a more thorough exam to see if she has that. But I'm thinking that the potential is greater that she does have some sort of illness because of how thin she is.
So how will you treat her beyond that? You're a vet tech, right? So
Yep.
You're able to give her like antibiotics or something?
I am. So I always work under the eye of a veterinarian. I can't diagnose and I can't prescribe or anything like that. So I will talk to a veterinarian and they can give me some medications. Depending on what the problem is, I can treat. If it's a bacterial infection, we can use antibiotics. If it's a viral infection, I can use supportive care, but antibiotics don't work on viruses. So at that point, what I can do is I can just give my patient enough supportive care for her immune system to do the work, because there's no cure.
Like the rest of us.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Best of luck.
Thank you.